The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk Careers with Sara. Tonight, I'm going to talk about how you can act like a CEO and pretend you're a CEO in order for you to get the attention from your employees and from other colleagues who are going to look up to you. So, this is episode is all about getting you advanced in your career. So stay tuned. When I hear people grousing about their jobs or their boss, I want to holler, suck it up. Do something about it. Stop being a victim. It's beyond finding meaning and joy in the work you do every day. It's about feeling like you are relevant and making a difference. My career advice runs the gamut from helping people make the most of where they are right now to finding strategic ways to pivot to a successful career change or developing a strategy to re-enter the workforce after a job loss. Or perhaps to land a part-time job to earn income in retirement to shore up financial security. Sometimes all it takes is making small changes to how we work or view our work to get our mojo going. Regardless of our career stage, we all run up against difficult bosses, feeling stuck with no signs of promotion, and feeling like we have no work-life balance, bored and burned out. I want you to know that you own your career. When you change your attitude to Me Inc. Incorporated and think like an entrepreneur instead of feeling like a cog in the wheel, you are the driver. You run your career like a one-person business. You accept that no one else is going to do it for you. Most of our workplace blues comes from a sense of powerlessness. Not only can this shifting of your internal thinking help you navigate your current workspace, if you are job hunting, it can also ramp up your chances of getting hired. Here is why. An entrepreneurial outlook gives you confidence, swagger, autonomy, and choice. It works. Having grown up in a household where I was encouraged to think like an entrepreneur and to always have freelance projects outside of my main job. As a result, I've always been nimble and not entirely dependent, even psychologically, on one boss. I learned to view my primary employer as my client. It is liberating, and it has helped me navigate my career path and remain resilient during rocky patches. By addressing the tangible challenges workers face, by squarely tackling these internal and external shifts, it's possible to find happiness and success in not only our working lives, but in our personal lives too. Do something every day to work toward your goal. Once you have some picture of where you want to go, get things moving by taking small steps toward that vision. What really matters is that you do a little something on a regular basis. As the saying goes, a journey of a household of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So start your personal passage to a better working life. Listen to this episode for the inspiration, guidance, and tools to help you discover smart ways to take control and get your career in gear. And all of this is for you to be an executive, to be somebody in charge. I encourage every listener right now to think that you are no longer a minimum wage employee, and you are now a leader, someone who is like a CEO, someone who is ambitious and wants to earn 100K, 80K, maybe 200K. It is possible. I have helped so many clients who are thinking, I am making right now $35,000 a year and I'm looking for $40,000 a year. And I would say, why? Why 40? Why not 80? Why not 65? Why not $90,000? And they simply said, I don't think I am qualified for these positions. I don't have the education, I don't have the degree, I don't have the skills, I don't have anything to be that person to have the job. Honestly, I had interviewed someone for, actually I say interview, but it's an assessment. All I do is assessing you thoroughly. So I assessed a client for their skills, for knowledge, for their expertise, and what they were good at. And one person was very good at office equipment. She was able to answer calls. She was able to do printing, faxing, whatever was necessary, answering emails, reading emails, and whatever was related to the office job, she was doing it. Her salary was $40,000. And the reason I emphasize this because I need to know what you are making right now. I need to know. It tells me more about you based on where you are right now. And then with this client, we decided that this person can be office manager. She can be an executive assistant. And basically those jobs in New York, they earn $100,000. And there are some things that she needed to know, like for example, booking trips on a calendar for the CEO, stuff like she didn't do, but I'm sure she can. And we worked on those gaps, whatever she was missing. And I revamped her resume, revamped her LinkedIn profile, and I had coached her on how to network with the decision makers, how to network. Some job postings are from employment agencies, and they sometimes waste your time by calling you for an interview, and then the hiring manager is actually interviewing you, and you are not a good fit. Their criteria was different than what the employment agency thought. So I don't recommend that. So there are different ways to network, different ways to find decision makers. And I may think that LinkedIn is a priority. That's the first place you try. And then other ways, other channels you can do. So that person typically has invested so much time and money with me in order to get the result that she wants. If she was doing it on her own, doing her own resume, doing her own LinkedIn profile, thinking just applying through jobs, she will get interviews, which is really like 10% of her effort really gets results, but it's not enough. It's not enough. She would have ended up taking at the end any job that comes up. And this is what I'm trying to avoid candidates doing these mistakes, because you don't want to end up being in the same cycle. You don't want to feel again stuck where you are. You have bills to pay. You have other expenses on your head that you need to really take care of. And to have that type of mindset to give you the low income, it's not what you need. You need somebody to push you, to coach you, to guide you, to help you be somebody who can earn $100,000 a year. And it is all about commitment, what exactly you can do in order for you to get there. So I want you to continue listening to this episode in order for us to understand each other, to understand more about what I mean. As an executive coach, I know the path to professional success isn't what it used to be. In many ways, that's good. Today, there are more professional opportunities available than ever before. But in order to reap the rewards and enjoyment from a successful career, you must know how to acquire the skills you will need for your journey, how to manage yourself in unexpected circumstances, and how to roll with the punches. For decades, I worked closely with high-achieving professionals, and I have learned that you can't predict where your career path will take you. But you can prepare for it. You can learn smart workplace tactics and at the same time gradually build qualities that will bring your success. For much of the 20th century, success seems to be a matter of climbing onto the right organizational ladder and hanging on. Professionals were expected to be loyal and conform to institutional values. In exchange for loyalty, big organizations offered the promise of lifetime employment. Now, the idea of spending your whole career in one place, keeping your head down, and continuing to do pretty much the same type of work seems quaint. Careers flow through many phases, involving numerous relationships, shifting skill sets, and startling change. Your career is likely to include many jobs. Perhaps some will be full-time and long-lasting, whereas others would be short-term, freelance gigs. There may be times when you juggle several jobs or businesses at once. Sometimes your career may not involve paid work, but your professional growth will continue as you go back to school, volunteer, or take on a fellowship as a way to explore new directions. You will be in charge of your career. Nobody else will guide it. As you move from place to place, you may find that workplace cultures vary widely, making navigating on the job more confusing than ever. For example, you may find yourself in a situation where dress is casual, hours are flexible, and the hierarchy is loose. But although things look informal at the first glance, you have to decipher complex relationships and meet productivity expectations that are extraordinarily high but never actually defined. The whole concept of career is different than it was in the last century. When I talk about your career, I'm not just thinking of what you do at the office. Your career is no longer distinct from the rest of your life. It includes everything you do to stay in shape, physically, emotionally, spiritually, socially, in order to do your best work. Your career encompasses your learning experiences, from the books you read to your circle of friends, vacation pursuits, and community activity. Professional is another word that has shifted meaning. The traditional professions included doctors, lawyers, architects, and other especially educated, licensed, and relatively well-paid experts, but now the definition includes anybody who is seriously engaged in meaningful, challenging work. Today's professionals are committed to building their skills and expertise and maintaining quality and ethical standards in myriad fields from IT to the culinary arts. And whereas modern professionals still want to be compensated, they expect more from their work. They want to find meaning and fun on the job, and at the same time, enjoy a richer, broader life. To get what they wanted from their professional life, your parents needed to demonstrate loyalty. But what you will need for your varied career is to be adaptable and resilient. Professionals who are adaptable are able to put aside assumptions about their tasks, bosses, or clients and try new strategies to achieve what they want. They are willing to be flexible, sometimes experimenting a bit as they tweak their performance or build stronger relationships with colleagues. Career resilience means being able to anticipate risks and feel comfortable with change. Resilience involves limiting damage during turbulent times. It means knowing how to absorb hard knocks, to regroup, and to bounce back when the worst happens. It's the ability to start feeling better and bolster your confidence after a setback. It's remaining engaged in the midst of shifting challenges. Resilience brings security in a constantly changing world. My observation from watching hundreds of adaptable, resilient careerists is that Regardless of where they work, most tend to be entrepreneurial thinkers, and they are curious, open-minded, and skilled at spotting trends and turning them into opportunities. They resist the urge to be defensive, to get bogged down in the past. Instead, they handle each challenge as it comes along, and they quickly refocus on the future. They keep learning and building their social networks, and they are open to new ideas. Agile in tumultuous situations and willing to keep building social, technical, and managerial skills. In addition, over the long haul, the most successful professionals act like savvy chief executive officers. They are quick to take responsibility and are always planning ahead. They share their praise and turn quickly to problem solving when things go wrong. They know their value system and they organize themselves to live within it. And they listen to other people and are typically eager to support their success. Resilient people aren't necessarily born with a unique ability to be flexible, bounce back, and forge ahead. Often they are ordinary folks who gradually learn behaviors, attitudes, and work patterns that allow them to adapt as needed. I am a good example of someone who started out as a risk-averse warrior, but through the years became more flexible. At the age of 20, I was looking for a secure job track. But as it turns out, I've reinvented my career again and again. As an undergraduate at CUNY College, I studied technology and hospitality and planned to become a manager. Then I was sidetracked by student activism to promote equality for women that led to work in the university's administration, and at the same time I became the first woman in the CUNY University program. Eventually, I was called upon to take a fresh look at the university's employment practices and create its first affirmative action program. From there, I went to Touro College, thinking that I would settle down to secure a career track as a special educator. After a brief stint at the securities and knowing where I am at, I went to a series of job hunting and job positions that I had, where I discovered that in those positions that I've held in those companies, that I must be an entrepreneur. It was particularly tough for women to develop a client base and step into a firm leadership. And during my years as a young manager, I had some tough lessons about bouncing back and forging ahead. Eventually, I was hired by big companies to take charge of all kinds of public affairs and policy. And that company had great integrity and were good managers. And I enjoyed my work and found satisfaction in fighting for issues like development of alternative power project. So I thought I was settled in my life. And then a corporate merge changed my plans. My job suddenly disappeared. But I was fine. As a corporate officer and a manager, I was well compensated with a severance package, and I discovered that I'd finally outgrown the need for a job that seemed secure. I decided to create a new career built around the activities I enjoy the most. I realized that throughout my various jobs, I was always fascinated by mentoring younger colleagues and helping guide them into leadership. So I went back to school, including to Touro College again, wonderful leadership coaching program. And now for more than a dozen years, I've been working as an executive coach, consultant, and speaker. I have worked with thousands of people ranging from graduate students and young professionals to leaders at the highest level of government, academia, and corporate life. I've had an opportunity to help clients become more adept careerists without having to learn all their lessons the hard way. I can watch close up and they practice thinking like entrepreneurs and acting like effective CEOs, and I've seen how it is possible for people to become increasingly comfortable with change while mastering strategies for flourishing work life and professional success. Now, you may think you don't have the power, direction, or energy to create your dream career. And maybe you have never found change to be easy. But then, challenge by challenge, you'll learn how to deploy a broader range of workplace strategies. You'll get better at entrepreneurial thinking and acting like a leader. As you maneuver and succeed in surprising circumstances, your confidence will grow, and so will your resilience. So in this episode, I am going to guide you. In any episode, it is a practical guide to help you become more nimble in the workplace. I will teach you how to build career resilience by overcoming common predicaments and by capturing opportunities one by one. Though it draws on recent research and the advice of experts, my podcast isn't a theoretical treatise or an academic study. And although I talk about my experiences and those of friends and clients, the podcast is really about you. Every episode offers you simple, actionable tactics for tackling a career question that may be keeping you awake at night. And the detailed strategy will show you how to handle specific workplace challenges one by one. All of these episodes will show you how to navigate tricky career situations. You will find practical answers for questions such as how to respond gracefully to praise from the boss, how to get over it when you don't get the promotion, and how to soften the letdown that comes after you finish a big project. As you master challenges like this, one puzzle at a time, you will expand your set of career survival skills. You will become more skillful at shifting gears and forging ahead. And with time, your resilience will grow. And you will create your own go-to-change process. A key to being more adaptable is having a comfortable way to get started when it's time to make a career shift, particularly if you find change to be difficult. The episodes will also help you to develop your own approach for analyzing work-related questions and finding ways to move forward. They will encourage you to think about how success might look in the future, and they will show you how to create an action plan that can move you toward that vision of success. When you have mastered simple and reliable approaches to sorting out problems and making a change, you can face almost any career challenge. Through the years, I've shared these strategies with countless clients, so I know they work. Each episode in this podcast will help you coach yourself through an immediate quandary while creating the skills and awareness that will make you unstoppable. My hope is that whether you read or whether you listen or whether you are implementing from each episode that you are actually doing, and you pick and choose episodes as you need them, you will find lessons from a career that takes you where you want to go. And throughout the podcast, you will find true stories about real people. Sometimes, particularly when I talk about a client, I have changed personal details to persevere confidentiality. In that case, the person will be given just a first name. with with some hint to serve as a reminder that the name and personal facts have been changed. And I know from long experience that you can create the kind of career you want. And I have recorded the podcast to help you succeed in the kind of work that you enjoy and find satisfying. So you can download this podcast, you can download this episode, and particularly share it with your friends or listen to it whenever you feel you're comfortable, whenever you have time, whether you're going to sleep or whether you're going to work on your way home or whether you are at the traffic and you just want to listen instead of music. You're going to listen to my podcast and really take notes. It's really going to help you. So, I want to go ahead and explain some things that you should know when you are going to launch something new, and I believe you need a good plan. So, stay tuned while we have a short break, and then we're going to continue. Hello, this is Sara Yusupov. Stop by my show, Let's Talk Careers with Sara, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, where I will discuss about your dream job, career coaching, answering your questions regarding careers, exclusively on TuneIn Satellite and the Armed Radio Global Networks. So, to launch something new, you need a good plan. Your long and varied career is likely to include a series of new jobs and other fresh starts. So, in 2018, the median time workers had been in their current employer was 4.6 years, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. And even if you defy the odds and stay with the same employer for much of your work life, your positions will change. You will take on new projects, clients, or assignments, and your entire organization could be repeatedly transformed. And what I learned from my worst first day at work is that my worst first day was 30 years ago. But it remains a vivid memory. I was a few years out of law school and shifting to a new firm in the nation's capital. The title on my business card read partner instead of associate, in recognition of the clients I was able to bring along with me. So, on my first day, I arrived in a new suit with an empty briefcase, eager to make a good impression in the Washington office of this Virginia firm. But the attorneys who had interviewed me were all out of the office that day, and nobody else seemed pleased to meet me. I found my way to the worst senior Washington partner and introduced myself. He was Kurt. At the interviews, they all thought you were so great, but frankly, I don't see it. You're going to have to prove yourself before anybody here gives you work. The first friendly word was from the kind firm administrator who took me to lunch and warned me about a few things. She told me that there had been controversy over my title, and she hinted that in this male-dominated firm, both attorneys and support staff would need some time to get used to the idea of working with a woman lawyer. The cool welcome was a challenge, but the most uncomfortable part of the day was that I had absolutely nothing to do. Well, in advance, I had caught up with work for the clients I was bringing with me. This was back before there was a web to surf, and I shrugged to look busy. Instead of hustling over the weekend to finish my client work, I would have prepared a long list of things to do. That night, I called my father, holding back tears, to cheer me up. He described his experience with his new job. The first day is always the worst day. The first week is always the worst week. The first month is worst month. And the first year is the worst year. I don't buy into the pessimism embedded in Dad's view of new jobs. But in that case, he was prophetic. Within days, the partners who had hired me returned to the office and greeted me greeted me with enthusiasm, and in successive weeks, months, and years, I found my niche in the firm and eventually felt fully accepted. My immediate anxieties were eased when I connected with colleagues who were more welcoming than the ones I encountered on that first day. But my time at the firm improved largely because I learned a critical lesson on day one. Nobody else was in charge of making me successful. That was my job. I went to work on my second day with the beginnings of a plan for how I would keep busy, take care of my clients, find new ones, and market my services to other lawyers in the firm. I never again assumed that the leadership would carry the responsibility for my success. So, in this scenario that I had just described myself at my job and at my career path, I want to explain that there are so many things that need to be done and so many things that need to be looked at. And I want to explain to you how to get off to a great start. These days, it's hard to imagine that any established business would make so little effort on employee orientation. Often, in a process human resource experts call onboarding, organizations develop elaborate plans to ensure that a new hire can quickly get to know key insiders and stakeholders, learn about performance expectations, and become familiar with the internal culture. Leaders may work hard to help recruits get a feel for the environment and develop realistic expectations about their roles. But even when you are supported by onboarding pros and welcoming boss, you are wise to have your own plan for starting your new job or assignment. Whether you are joining a different company, changing slots in the same outfits, or launching a new project, consider these tips as you lay out your plan. Learn what your boss wants. Initially, your manager may be vague about what she wants you to do. Of course, you should ask about your expected deliverables and the best way to report on your progress, but don't count on clear, complete answers. Be prepared to do some detective work. Observe how your boss interacts with her other direct reports, what she typically wants to know, and how she sends information up the line. Notice her schedule, like when she seems to catch up on email or which days she tends to work late. Get a sense of what she must do in order to be successful, and look for ways to help. Study the organization's mission and consider how your contribution and hers fit within the big picture. And then get to know people. When managers and professionals run into trouble with new positions or projects, it's typically not because they don't have the technical skills. Rather, they are more likely to fail because they misunderstand the culture or don't establish working relationships with the right people. During your first months, be methodical as you reach out to teammates and others who seem to have information to share. Email them saying, since I am new to this role, I'd like to set up a little time to hear your perspective and learn more about your projects and backgrounds. And then listen and learn. When you meet your new colleagues, ask questions, really. Listen to what everyone says. Resist the urge to talk about yourself and your successes in the old job. Keep an open mind. Avoid offering criticism before you understand the history. And be cautious about choosing sides among warring faction. I'll tell you about a client of mine that she was already 50 years old and she was not getting any younger. And she hated being a teacher for preschoolers. And no matter how much training she got, how much coaching she got, she still would go back and be herself. And for me, thinking you are a teacher, you could have become a supervisor teacher, a trainer teacher, a manager, a coach, something that could be elevated so that you don't have to be in this kind of position. But she did not listen. She would say, okay, and she would go back to where she was. So here, I don't want you to go to this journey. I want your journey to be successful, to the path that you want to be. So listen to what others telling you and learn. Doesn't matter what age they are. They could be young, they could be old, older than you, younger than you. It doesn't matter. I listen to any age, from 18 till 65. I really don't care, because you have something valuable to share with me. Why not? I will implement it. And then set short-term goals. As you start to feel that your feet are on the ground, create realistic objectives for your first few months, then for the first year. Reconfirm your understanding of your boss's expectations. Focus on areas that seem to be high priority and identify some relatively easy near-term achievements. Don't try to do everything at once, but identify specific preliminary steps, like introductory meetings, to move you in the right direction. And then do what you say you will. One of the worst ways to start out is to create a trail of broken promises. Deliver on every commitment you make, no matter how small. For example, if you offer to make a phone call or send along information, do so immediately. And then be on time. A simple way to demonstrate respect and enthusiasm is to meet all deadlines and show up on time for every meeting and appointment. This can be more challenging than usual if you are following a different schedule and you are operating in an unfamiliar environment, but it's worth the extra effort. And then adjust your attitude. It's not unusual to experience a letdown soon after you start your job. Once you are beyond the excitement of the move, you may realize that not everything is meeting your expectations. If you start to feel that the honeymoon is over, it will be time to make an important choice. You can give in to your disappointment and become preoccupied with how they have let you down. Or you can choose to focus on the positive aspects of your situation and commit yourself to doing what it takes to reach your goals. So this is a good time to remember that you are the CEO of your career, and it's your job to navigate the bumps and barriers. Then give yourself 4 to 6 weeks to work like crazy. There is no way around the intense upfront investment required to kick off something new. This can be exhausting and isn't the best way to live for the long haul, but be super focused and consider working at an unsustainable pace for a month or so. For this brief time, you'll keep your weekends pretty clear, postpone social obligations, and skip on household chores. At the same time, set a deadline clearly marked on your calendar for when you'll pause and reassess your work style. Consciously add back the things you temporarily cut from your life and tweak your goals from this point on. And then manage stress. Adjusting to your new assignment will undoubtedly produce moments of uncertainty that can lead to a high level of stress. Select a strategy for managing anxiety and include a fitness program. You may feel like you have no time to work out, but that's short-sighted. The time you spend on keeping your cool and boosting your energy is an investment in your success. Even if you are a person who enjoys change, starting something new can be unnerving. But once you are comfortable with your approach for planning and launching a new gig, your transition will feel less daunting. And then start your plan here. So to create a quick and easy plan for launching a new job, answer these 5 questions. What is my job description? What are my most important objectives for the first year, including the things my boss wants most from me? And who are the people who will be impacted by my work, who can help me to be successful, or who have information that I need? And when can I meet with them for 30 minutes? And what are quick and easy wins, including meeting people and learning about the job, that I can deliver during the first 3 months? And what organizational fitness or other habits will help me to perform at my best during the first 3 months? These questions are going to be posted on my blog. You can download that under the shop. You will see you can download it, and it's free. It's Sara, Sara Yusupov, Yusupov .blogspot, blogspot saraYusupov.com and just go to the shop and you will see a worksheet that you can download with these 5 questions. The worksheet will be basically labeled as episode season 2 episode 4, I believe. I just have to make sure that I'm at the right track, and that way you can go and download and follow those questions. So it's season 2 episode 4. You will be able to download this worksheet with these 5 questions, and you can email me your results, email me your answers at letstalkcareerswithsara@gmail.com. Once you do that, you will get an assessment with me, and we are going to have a 15 minutes call where we'll talk about your strategies, what we can do beyond what you hear at this episode. So we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hello, this is Sara Yusupov. Stop by my show, Let's Talk Careers with Sara, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, where I will discuss about your dream job, career coaching, answering your questions regarding careers, exclusively on TuneIn Satellite and the Armed Radio Global Networks.
But even if you don't expect to ever create a business, developing a more entrepreneurial attitude could bring a new vitality to your existing job. You might start your mental shift by imagining how it would be possible to reinvent your current job, change career gears, or launch a business or nonprofit at some point in the future. When my clients try to envision a different path, it often changes the way they look at their current environment. They may develop a more adventuresome spirit, experience fresh insights about their work, or connect with people in new ways. Intrapreneurial is the newish term that some use to describe the employee of a large organization who acts like an entrepreneur. That might mean inventing something new without being asked, or accepting the task of turning a rough idea into profitable finished product. However, we label them. I particularly enjoy working with clients who start thinking more like entrepreneurs. Even during the roughest economic times, they keep bouncing back, whether by renegotiating their job to meet a new need or heading out on their own. You can start immediately to develop more entrepreneurial approach to your work. If you want to act like an entrepreneur, start here. Know the mission. Entrepreneurs tend to be passionate about their work. They set goals and they plan activities to support those goals. To be truly goal-minded, it's not enough that you understand your own objectives. You also should understand your organization's mission, the challenges it faces, and the way your contribution supports the collective strategy. Focus on the customer. If you start a business, your customers will ultimately determine whether you succeed. Everything you do in a business must be focused on your customers. It's your job to know what they need, what they want, and what they think. And it's the same if you work in a large organization. Your success depends on the products and services you deliver to your bosses, your colleagues, and other customers as well. Ask yourself how you might better serve your current customers and look for ways to broaden your customer base. Understand business basics. As a professional, you should be familiar with all the functions that make up a simple business. You need to be comfortable with commercial lingo and clear about how various business-like activities are embodied in your partners, in your organization. Even if it's government agency, ask yourself, do I have a mental picture of the operation that brings this outfit to life? From product development to budgeting, marketing, and sales? Do I understand the roles of support services like human resources and public affairs? Then practice failure. Successful entrepreneurs know that everyone has and can learn from false starts. When they experience a failure, they analyze what went wrong and apply the lesson to the next opportunity. There is a saying that entrepreneurs fail their way to the top. But if you are used to success, you may become so afraid of failing that you won't take chances. This can stifle your inventiveness and limit your ability to collaborate and innovate. To mitigate your fear of failure, take up some activities where your success isn't assured. For example, if you have no talent for dancing but your spouse loves it, sign up for a class. So what if you don't excel? The two of you will still have fun and you will discover that it can be okay to not excel. Choose to be positive. As we'll discuss in later episodes, the research is clear. You can learn to be more optimistic. Begin by noticing your own language, including the way you talk inside your head. If you are given no complaints, or if you are given 2 complaints, regrets, and self-deprecation, learn to let that negativity go. Build your brand. Your brand is what you stand for, including your values, your personal characteristics, and the quality of your work. And I will describe this in later episodes, how you already have a brand, but it may not be the one you want. Now let's go over listening is your surefire. Go to career strategy. So in few minutes ago, I talked about how one of your most important strategies for launching a new job or assignment is to meet as many key people as possible and listen carefully when they are speaking. In fact, if I could magically give you one super career skills, it would be listening. By listening, I mean you may not only shut your mouth long enough for the other person to talk, but you also shut down the voice in your head when it tries to tell you what to say next. You concentrate on the speakers, and you hear when they try to say something. And you hear what they say, even if it means you have to fight the urge to be defensive or interrupt. Neuroscience and philosophers suggest that people go through life aching to have their concerns acknowledged and their presence felt. When you truly listen to meet that need and connect with the speaker in a special way, even though it might not seem like it at the time. Listening is so fundamental to human interaction that you can usually tell if a person is actually hearing you or is just pretending. So research on the organization, research on mindful listening shows that speakers can sense whether the audience is paying attention or just waiting for their turn to talk. When you're really listening without passing judgment, you're more likely to be seen as genius, as genuine, charismatic, and even attractive. Becoming a stronger listener is like building your physical strength. You build your listening muscle by noticing your reactions to a speaker and then putting them aside. For example, let's imagine your friend says, "You will let me down." You instantly think, that's not true. But rather than butting in, you put that defensive thought aside and hear what else your friend has to say. Then you could go further and encourage the friend by asking positively worded, open-ended questions. Instead of arguing, you might ask, how might I have handled this in a more supportive way? You can sharpen your skill by practicing throughout the day in low-stress situations, such as conversations with barista or sales clerk. For just a minute or two, give your normal concerns a rest and shift your focus to the needs and interests of someone else. Great listening goes beyond hearing someone's words. It means noticing body language, facial expressions, and signs of emotion. It helps to be relaxed, so you might want to take a few deep breaths before starting a challenging conversation. A good way to begin a listening session is to summon up some passion for the speaker by imagining what it's like to see things from his or her perspective. If you want one essential ability to help you become more resilient, work on the habit of genuinely listening to other people. So here are 6 situations where active listening is a particularly smart way to go. When you are starting something new, for example, if you are joining a different team or meeting new people, it's tempting to talk a lot, to show off your expertise. Often the better approach is to ask questions and demonstrate your strength by paying close attention to the answers. When you are a leader, listening is a core competency of leadership. You will grow as a leader if you practice the discipline of letting others talk before you do as your team members speak. And show that you are listening by nodding or restating a speaker's points, and find ways to let them know that you care about what they think, even though you may not always agree. When you are trying to make your case, when you fall into debate mode during a meeting, we may ignore others' comments and obsess about the points we want to get across. Instead, it's more effective to understand our colleagues' goals and concerns so well that we can frame our suggestions with minimum of conflict. Collaboration is vital career skills, and it starts with appreciating the viewpoints of all players. When you are in the middle, have you ever found yourself caught between 2 warring parties? You know it would be a mistake to take sides, but it can be a challenge to participate in meetings without seeming to align with one faction or another. The best approach here is to consistently present yourself as an open-minded listener. Let everybody know you're always willing to be fair and hear what folks want to communicate. When they are hard to get along with. Once we start thinking of people as difficult, we may stop really hearing them. As they speak, we feel defensive and start working on our rebuttals. At some level, they know we're ignoring them, so their obnoxious behavior gets worse. You can often diffuse a tense situation by putting aside your resistance and concentrating on what is being said. By quieting your negative inner commentary, you may launch a new era of healthy communications. When you want to look confident, when people feel insecure, they may chatter about nothing, brag too much, or insist their opinions are correct despite the weight of the evidence. Genuinely confident people aren't afraid to stay quiet. They already know what they think, and now they want to know what you think. If you want to come across as self-assured, look for opportunities to shine the spotlight on others. Ask questions and be respectful of the answers. Listening is a powerful strategy. It can help you understand what's happening, show that you care, and contribute to the growth of a supportive community. This is just part 1 of how to think and act like a CEO. If you are thinking about how you can advance yourself in your career, how you can get promoted, this episode is for you. There are going to be a series of episodes for this particular topic on how to be like an entrepreneur and how to act like a CEO in order for you to get promoted as a manager. Whether you are already a manager, you want to be a successful manager, perhaps there are some skills you are lacking, and with listening to my episodes on this series, you can grow and sharpen your skills. So stay tuned. I'm going to share with you the next episode that is coming up, And if you have any questions, you can really message me on Facebook, Let's Talk Careers with Sara radio show, and you can message me on in the email let's talk careers with Sara@gmail.com. You can also join my group, Let's Talk Careers Inner Circle, and we can make it happen. Whatever questions you have based on that, I can help you to sharpen your skills. So stay tuned and have a great day.
Hello, this is Sara Yusupov. Stop by my show, Let's Talk Careers with Sara, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, where I will discuss about your dream job, career coaching, answering your questions regarding careers, exclusively on TuneIn Satellite and the Armed Radio Global Networks.
If you like this episode, please follow and share it with others. Join my group on Facebook called Let's Talk Careers Inner Circle. If you would like to be featured on my show, let me know in the group. And I have an event coming up, Career Readiness Workshop. It's on August 20 at 7:30 p.m. You will learn about job strategies, interview skills, and this will be your opportunity to network with others. More details on bit.ly/career readiness workshop.
Hello, this is Sara Yusupov. Stop by my show, Let's Talk Careers with Sara, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, where I will discuss about your dream job, career coaching, answering your questions regarding careers, exclusively on TuneIn Satellite and the Armed Radio Global Networks.